Greetings and welcome back to Switch to Linux. Once again, I forgot to turn on my backlight. There we go. My backlight's on. It's more green than it usually is. Oh well, we'll stick with a green background instead of a yellow one. Anyway, I hope you guys are all doing well. We are broadcasting live from the tick-infested state of New Hampshire. Oh, that's not the one I wanted to do. Okay, so we are on audio only today. I looked at my bandwidth, of course, for all you international guys like Salbu on here. Actually, World of Unix. You're up in Canada, aren't you? How is internet up there? Is it as insane as down here? Well, that's good news. So Salbu, of course, he lives in an international country, so he's got really good internet. So I'm able to get like 150 gigabytes for $100. So I have 15 days left in my cycle, and I've already used well over half of that. So we will certainly do a voice today. I'm going to do an analysis of how much bandwidth this takes, and then we might do voice only next week as well. But hey, we'll see what happens next week. Who knows? Maybe I'll just upload a bunch of videos from a Dunkin' Donuts coffee shop instead of using some of my bandwidth, but never know. Or who knows? Maybe I'll spend a few bucks a month and buy a little wireless Wi-Fi thing for, just some extra random data usage. I don't know. But anyway. Yeah. Yeah. Second factor is there's so many trees around this state that I'm having a hard time finding good signal. And so I'm actually getting 8 and 12 right now, which is really good. So I was not getting that earlier when I first turned it on here, and I'm in the third spot. This is the third parking spot since I've been in this town that I went to seeking out good internet. I did get good internet from the Walmart parking lot. I just didn't want to do a whole show from the Walmart parking lot. Me screaming into a camera in a Walmart parking lot. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Well, it wasn't particularly frightening. I mean, I've been in way more frightening places. I mean, I did camp for a week in Slab City. It's hard to find places more frightening than that. But it was still fun. Yeah, if you guys are unaware of the anarchist zone known as Slab City, it's basically a lawless zone and land dispute. Nobody knows who owns it. There's all sorts of lawsuits going back several years about it, and basically a bunch of meth runners have taken the place over. I camped there. It was fun. Commodore fan had a burger craving, and I'm eating some Hardee's. I think the best thing I can do at this point is just bin the phone I have and go back to the flip phone. Yeah, so I should have recorded some footage. A friend of mine needed to switch over to Mint Mobile. Basically, Verizon was charging. It was getting up costing several, like 50 so bucks a month. And so we switched him over to Mint Mobile. He does not want smartphones. And so I found it was the model number was like a Neo. It's a flip phone, found it on Amazon, worked perfectly fine with Mint Mobile. It's actually a dual SIM phone as well. So if you travel international a lot, you can have different SIMs in there. It was like $70, and it's just a flip phone, VoLTE, so it's going to work after all these network shutdowns. So yeah, if you are looking for that, maybe I'll let me see if I can find that phone while you guys are there. Oh, I forgot to uncomment you guys. I'm sorry, guys. You guys were quiet. It's okay. I didn't really introduce you yet. I've been monopolizing things. Ivan, how's it going?
Not too bad. It's cloudy and cold out, but otherwise, I'm doing all right.
Cloudy and cold. It's actually pretty hot, and I'm not too far from you.
No, you're not.
All right, Salvu, how's it going your way?
It's going fine. It's a long weekend here in Norway because the coming Monday is a public holiday. So
good.
We have a lot of public holidays in the Christian celebration, I think so, which I think that you don't have.
Yeah, well, we had Memorial Day last weekend. It was ours.
Yeah, we don't remember anything.
Yeah, World of Unix, how's it going your way?
Well, it's doing fine. A little bit cold outside, but I mean, so far everything's been going well. Just a little bit windy. So
yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. I did find the phone I was talking about here. Let me go to my article view. This is the one I got. This is the, it is, I found it Neo flip phone is what I searched for. It was the first thing up there. MaxWest Neo 4G dual nano SIM LTE Bluetooth. It says not Verizon/Boost. We're using it on Mint Mobile. So, and it worked out fine. Now, I did look up this exact model number is not listed there, for Mint Mobile. But when I wasn't unsure about that. So what I did is I ordered the phone for my friend. And then I got the phone in, looked at the SIM or the IMSI number, and the IMSI number came up as fully compatible. So we put it on there, and he's been absolutely loving the phone. I dropped the Amazon link to that. Note that is an affiliate link, but just so you guys have a quick short link to that phone, it is there in the comments. It should support AT&T. Obviously, I did not test it. I think what they're saying is not Verizon because of CDMA, but even Verizon is moving away from that model a little bit. And so who knows? What I would do is get one or, grab a Boost SIM card, which is all of a few dollars, and you can go ahead and do that. But so if you are looking to move away from smartphones altogether in light of our discussion today, this is a decent option. It works with it's modern Bluetooth type stuff. So my friend needs to get a new Bluetooth headset because his is like literally the phone he got to replace this, he bought literally 20 years ago. Like, that's how long he's had that phone. So needless to say, he needed to get a new Bluetooth headset because his was so old. But you can pick that up over there. And there's other flip phones out there as well. There's a few of them we looked at. There's up here, of course, there's the Alcatel one. I've not tested this one. This says unlocked for T-Mobile, AT&T. Being a Cricket phone, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Just know that there are flip phones out there that you can get. Obviously, the 3G one is probably not going to work too much later. And make sure whatever phone you have will support HD LTE or VoLTE. So if you're looking for a flip phone, go ahead and do that. Yeah. Let's see. Thanks for the reminders. I can't hear anybody. Yep. Been a while. I didn't watch you. I take that's true. All right. Yes, I got a beard now. Hello, FB. How's it going there? Yeah, see, some people are coming back. We were discussing before I started. I found my way back onto YouTube's naughty list somehow. I can always tell because what happens, they seem to have multiple different priority channels because the videos I have that get almost no views are also inundated with sex spam comments. But the videos that have a lot of views are perfectly clean. I can't figure it out. But the one we did the other day, the reminder of backups, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I forget when I did it. That still has not even crossed 500 views last I knew. It was monetized, curiously. Half the videos I've been doing have been hitting demonetized and then monetized again on manual review. So apparently I'm on YouTube's naughty list now, so maybe I should just make it worse. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
All right. Anybody want to jump in before we get our topic?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, not really.
Not really. All right. Is there a possibility of unlimited data for me? No. As of right now, no. I'm keeping an eye on the Starlink stuff. The problem is Starlink is still way too power hungry to use sustainably. That right now is using between 70 and 100 watts. My current modem uses 3. So 70 to 100, that's literally like running a full desktop gaming computer just to get internet. That is not sustainable for van life. So I think that what they're probably going to see happen is a bunch of people will get excited. A bunch of people will get it because they don't understand how power works. And then their batteries are always empty. And then they suck and complain about how bad it is because it takes too much power. That's my prediction. Being that many van life people don't know a lot about electricity. So that's that. Yeah, I would like to get more. I don't even have the option to say, hey, I've used up all my data. Let me pay you another, $20 to get, another 5 gigabytes. I can't even do that. Completely stupid. Like I technically have unlimited, but what happens is it drops to like 33.6 modem after 150 gig is what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see. Really want a Pine phone. Haven't been able to get one yet. Fairphone 4 with Calyx OS seems good, but not available in Burgerland at the moment. Burgerland, where's that? Let's see. Second best thing I can do is just toss Lineage on the Pixel. Yes. AT&T. Oh, that's referencing that other phone. Okay. Installed Lineage OS on the old Moto X4. Made it usable again. Battery life significantly improved over time. Yes. The Cricket phones run either Android 11 or KaiOS. I report the sexy ads to YouTube, as do I. But yeah, every single time I get a video that doesn't perform well, it's inundated with sex spam comments.
Oh yeah, there's quite a lot. Like, I mean, almost every YouTube video is always going to be those spam bots somewhere.
Yep. All right, so we're talking today about the dangers of certain phone apps. So I was flipping through my Linux news today, and I found this article here from Fossbytes. A popular coffee business used its app to track users' locations. Tim Hortons wants you to know that every movement in order to amplify customer experience. All right, guys, initial thoughts.
Tim Hortons is like Dunkin' Donuts Part 2.
I think Tim Hortons is probably a little bit better. They have a wider variety of things. And I'm not. It's kind of hit or miss if their donuts are more or less stale or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Other thoughts?
I don't really get why one would need an app in order to go somewhere and buy coffee.
I know this one baffles me. Okay. World of Unix. You are a Canadian, and so you are completely obligated and authorized to talk about this situation first because it is Tim Hortons, which is a Canadian company.
Okay, so I guess let me explain a little bit how Tim Hortons work and like over the years and what they did. So I guess Tim Hortons, of course, is like a coffee chain in Canada, and they have donuts, and basically it's kind of a little bakery that they're able to just make a whole bunch of stuff. You're able to get breakfast there and lunch. You know, it's really like Dunkin' Donuts, but, you know, for Canada. But apparently they're in the U.S. too. But anyways, the whole point of it is it's only until recently that Tim Hortons really started to push the app to people. And the way they did this is that for like probably a decade or maybe two, they had like this contest probably every April or so called the Roll Up the Rim to Win. I'm not sure if you heard about it, but it was a contest where every coffee that you bought had like a little tag on it that you could roll up, and then there would be prizes, and sometimes you won donuts, and sometimes you won gift cards and a whole bunch of other stuff, right? And then I guess because of the pollution, right? Because those cups were apparently making too much pollution, they started to push people to use the app to essentially win the contest. So they completely removed like the physical contest, and now you needed the app in order to win the contest and all that stuff. And it's definitely not rigged, right?
So is this contest effectively the same thing as the McDonald's Monopoly contest that's very big and popular every year?
It's kind of like Monopoly. It's more with you actually have a sticker. Well, they literally put it on the cups themselves, and you literally rolled it up, and it said if you won something or not. So instead of putting it on the card, it was just you basically ripped it kind of apart, and then you gave it to someone that you won something, and then they would just give you a donut or something, and depending on what it was. I think years back, my parents actually won a GPS, like a Garmin GPS because of it, but that's kind of how the thing worked. But because their reasons was because of pollution, they started to push people over to the app. So that's why the first thing is why the app became so popular, and probably lots of people forgot to uninstall it afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like, okay, so we have this app. Of course, you can probably search up locations on it and things like that.
Yeah.
Use your coupons. You can probably prepay, pre-order and prepay things for pickup. That's been big in the Kofi world. Prepaying orders, and every restaurant now has a place for online order pickup and stuff. So yeah, but just having the app on your phone itself, they said in the article here, it's like literally every few minutes, the thing would track, would do a location check, 2,700 pings in 3 months, is what they were collecting. Yeah. And it is de-anonymized data, but they can still get information from that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's in and of itself is fascinating. I'm wondering how long before people, the police are starting to pull your Tim Hortons tracking location data to determine if you are in the vicinity of the crime. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Ivan, have you chimed in yet early on?
No, but I was just thinking that it's like with what they were doing with that app with the geolocation information is like the thought came across my mind that, okay, so they can track to see which Tim Hortons are at, and they can also see if you've gone to Starbucks, if you've gone to Mrs. Johnson's coffee cafe, or anybody else, or even over to the local gas station. And it's like, if they've got their location turned on, then of course, they're going to get tracked everywhere they go. Mm-hmm. And that just raises flags for me.
Yeah. Commodore Fan says this: it's stupid if you're going to buy a coffee anyway, you're going to get the cup, right? So how does this save on the pollution? You have to be an incompetent buffoon to think that, this is a way to save the environment. Download the app, save the environment. So we'll stop putting the game piece on the cup. But here's your cup anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a comedian. His name is Tim. I forget Tim Hawkins. That's who it is.
Not Tim Horton.
He did a bit that I saw here on YouTube where he went to a Starbucks, and of course it was a joke. But he tells them, he's like, I'd like I want a double venti whatever with 2 sleeves, no cup. And he's like, let me change that. Give me a shot of Jack. I'm just gonna go over the cliff over there.
Nice.
Yeah.
2 sleeves, no cup. All right. Just pour it right in my mouth.
Wheeze the juice.
Yeah, there you go. Apps like this with ridiculous tracking always make me think they might glow a bit. Save the environment, like how California made biodegradable straws and they'd wrap them in plastic. Yeah. Or how about this one? This was been my experience from visiting California just a few months ago, right? So they've basically banned the plastic bags. Yeah. Well, they banned a certain type of plastic bag. You can still go to Walmart and get plastic bags. They just give you big plastic bags that are reusable, which literally means people are still only using them one time. They're still throwing them away. They're not bringing them back to the store. I didn't see anybody bringing these old bags back to the store. They're throwing them away, and they're basically using more stuff and throwing away plastic that is harder to biodegrade because it's so much bigger.
Right, yeah. It's like it's made out of tarp material. Yeah.
Well, now I like those bags because I use I do have my bag of shopping bags down here. So I have a lot of them, so I can go to the store, and this because I buy small quantities of things, I have the capability of going to the store and never using those bags, but I use them for my garbage. And so, if I'm running low on bags, I'll leave my bags in the van. If I'm running somewhat low on bags, I'll bring in 1 bag and get 1 or 2 bag, whatever else. Man, I love those big California bags because they just didn't leak.
Yeah. This is an area where here in Norway we get when Norwegians here news about garbage bags and how to dispose of and so on. Norwegians often get a strange look on their face because no one here ever buys a garbage bag in order to we use plastic bags, but Norway, and I'm not sure Sweden, but we are maybe the only countries, the country where the plastic bags that you pick home food in, you don't use it just to bring it home. You also use them as a garbage bag. So. So the EU had there was a suggestion to ban plastic bags, and Norway had an objection because we don't we reuse them, and when people go to the gym. There are periods in your life where you have your gym clothes in the same plastic bags from the store. So there are multiple uses of it.
Correct. And I think a lot of people do keep them around. Roshi brought something on the same topic of plastic bags. And then we'll get back to the cell phone stuff.
Yeah.
But Walmart's were talking about getting rid of the bags. Then the koofies happened and they wouldn't allow you to use your own bags. This made zero sense to me, except for the fact that many people are lazy. Like when I go to the store, okay, I put my stuff on the conveyor belt. I tell them I have a bag, scan the stuff through, just put it over here. And then I, still holding my bag, they'll scan the stuff through. I will take up the stuff and put it in my bag. Now, I completely understand the koofiness, not giving my bag to them and have them fill my bags for me. Like, are we not capable of filling our own grocery bags, which basically will save more time? That's why I like Aldi's. So a Commodore fan mentions Aldi's here. And the Aldi's, we just got some Aldi's in State College, so I went to the very first ones for the very first time. They don't even like do any. They just dump all your stuff in the next shopping cart and then take it over there and you deal with it. I love that approach. It's literally like that is exactly the way it should be. Yeah, so anyway, then the coof hit. That's right. Yeah. All right, back to our privacy and stuff. So we talked about this article. Now, almost all apps are doing this type of stuff. This is why you should not use apps unless you absolutely 100% have to. The vastest majority of apps, you can accomplish the exact same thing by using a web browser and going to the website.
And if you really want an app, then use their own search F-Droid first.
Yeah, if you do need apps, use the F-Droid ones because they generally don't have anything extra in there. So if you're unfamiliar with how Android apps, and I can't speak as much to the Apple apps, but the Android apps, they're built on Java. And World of Unix, have you done stuff with Android apps or not?
Well, both on iOS and Android.
Good. I'll let you talk about iOS. I'll do Android, and then that way it'll be a little bit more variable. So it's based on Java, and I'm not an expert by any stretch. I just have some basic training in it. It's based on Java, which utilizes a bunch of libraries. And so there's a whole boatload of libraries. So if somebody needs to use, for example, a GPS sensor, they don't write the code for the GPS sensor. They just import a GPS sensor library. So you compile all these things together. What happens is these companies invariably add all of these trackers, all these different things, because the libraries are easy and available to make. And then you get this bloated app that collects anything and everything under the sun. They can send the data back. Now, if you're using the website instead of the phone app wherever you can, and you should try every service you have an app for on your device, you should see if you can use the phone app. The phone instead on a browser app. And then you're going to use one of a few browsers. Firefox Focus, Brave, I believe, has a browser now, and DuckDuckGo's browser. Now, DuckDuckGo's controversial, and they have even had another controversial thing, will be in the weekly news roundup this week as well. However, the reason those three browsers are the ones to try first is because none of those three browsers, to my knowledge, and the only one I absolutely know for sure is Firefox Focus / Firefox Clar. Same browser, different name. Those literally leave out the components for GPS, for cameras, for microphones. Those apps are not even physically capable of interacting with the sensors in your phone. I think that's the case for the DuckDuckGo and the Brave browsers, but I have not looked at those in thorough detail. But those Firefox ones, not the main Firefox browser, but the Firefox Clar, Firefox Focus, they leave those libraries out, so it's not even possible for a website to get any information when you browse to that thing with that particular browser. That's why you want to use those. Was I wrong on any of that, World of Unix? Go ahead and correct me if you've done more training in that area.
No, that was perfectly fine.
Okay.
I guess I could always talk about the iOS counterpart and how that
Yes,
works.
please let us know how those work and how they interact with sensors as well.
So, as you know, Apple is far more restrictive when it comes with app developers and their app store, right? So the only way you're really able to develop apps for, well, iOS is through the App Store. So that means that you need to use Xcode in order to compile your applications with Swift, and you need to use Apple's APIs or an approved Apple API, right? So it's not just something that you're able to take every single type of API and put it together, because Apple wouldn't allow it on their store. So you have to use their API in order for it to work, right? So they have APIs for GPS tracking. They have it for all the sensors in your iPhone, for example, right? And they have APIs for a whole bunch of other stuff. So you have to follow Apple's guidelines for it. However, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily more private either. So you should still avoid all those apps as possible, because even if Apple says that they're more private because it's more locked down and they have more control and they technically have like that app tracking transparency, right? Where usually you have a dialogue that says yes or no if you want to be tracked. That doesn't really do much. It really only affects the companies, but it doesn't really do much when it comes to other types of tracking. So the app developer still has access to all the other APIs, like your battery percentage, or exactly how long you're scrolling on the screen, or exactly the size of the screen, and all those little tiny, well, as you would call it, like metadata, right, that they're still able to use. So both on Android and iOS, the biggest problem that we have with those apps are really the metadata, right? So that's the biggest problem. And especially on iOS, because it's restrictive, you could use the web app, for example. And I think the only web browser I would recommend would be the Brave browser, because all the other ones, including Brave, right, are all based on the same web engine. So they don't have the same protection as their Android counterpart. So that's a little bit problematic. But Brave does have like the most blocking and protection that you'll get if you don't want to use the app and go on, using the web app instead. So that's all I have to say, at least to start with.
Yeah, so use the web apps where possible instead. We have the FBI agent has popped on. How are you, FBI agent?
Yeah.
Speaking of iOS,
go ahead.
I was going to say all your base belong to us.
Hey, there you are. It's Tech. How's it going?
It's going. Sorry about being so late. I just wasn't able to get home soon enough to jump on live.
That's
it
cool.
seemed like an interesting topic because
absolutely.
I was wondering if y'all go. I don't know what y'all talked about, so I'll just try to tag along here.
Yeah. So continuing on the iOS, one interesting tidbit is that I read this last year in an article when Steve Jobs announced the iPhone. He was hesitant to allow apps on the phone, which became the Apple Store after a little while. But his initial plan was that if you needed something that the phone didn't already ship with, you should create a web app that would work in a browser. So it's interesting that how things could have been.
Mm-hmm. Tech, did you want to jump on and ask if we've covered something specific? Okay, not sure. Are you there, Tech? Blink twice if you've been captured. Wait, hold on. We can't see any cameras. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so obviously the first line is don't use any apps that you don't absolutely have to. Default to use the tied down browsers first. And then, really question if you need anything else, like banking apps. Why? You do not need to be banking on your phone. You should have a separate operating system to do all your banking on. You shouldn't touch anything online with banking except for that. And by that, it doesn't even have to be its own computer. I mean, I have a box of operating systems in here. And one of those is my banking operating system, which is fully encrypted. I back up all the critical data every month. And so with that device, if somebody gets a hold of it, it's encrypted with Lux. They're not going to be able to crack into it. If the thing goes down, I can just rebuild it and import the critical data off of it. No big deal. But it keeps everything completely isolated. And even on top of that, all of the individual accounts are isolated from each other using progressive web apps. And so that's really the way to do that.
So I guess I still use banking apps because apparently you can cash checks and you can check on a whole bunch of stuff, but that's really the only thing I put on my phone other than like a few other apps. But for example, if I go on YouTube, I use a web app. I don't download the YouTube app, for example, on either Android. I actually disable it because that's kind of the only way with that particular phone that I have. Because I can't root it for some reason. They kind of lock the bootloader. So at least I disable it. So at least it gives me at least something to go as an alternative to just go on the web and just search for YouTube, right? Which is something you should definitely do, right? And all those restaurant apps, those dining apps, those movie kind of apps, movie theaters, and really all those apps that are basically just by companies, you shouldn't put it on your phone in the first place. That's probably one of the best things.
Yeah, and that's what happened with this Tim Hortons app is they're like, hey, we got a nice new app. You can get discounts, coupon. I mean, McDonald's has the app, Burger King has all the big fast food chains. They have the apps. Get coupons, all this kind of stuff. No, they're tracking a lot of data. The reason they're giving you stuff for this is because they're grabbing and collecting and storing a bunch of data. That's all they're doing. Tech, did you want to jump in on anything? I'm not sure if he's there anymore. All right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Tech, come on back. Come on back if you are. Hal 9000, what do you think of micro G? All right, so do you think people should avoid Firebase? Oh, yeah, let's cover these. So I think there's a few different questions in here. From Hal 9000. Well, Hal 9000 would love you to not use micro G. It wants you to use Google Apps instead. So micro G is I'm not sure if it's completely open source, but at least it's a safer mechanism of doing your Google Apps.
Yeah, it's pseudo-anonymous, I think, according to their own documentation. I was reading it a couple weeks ago.
Correct. Yep. So pseudo-anonymous. It does allow you to take a phone that is running like Lineage and use micro G and get some degree of Google type functionality without actually using the Google apps. For example, EOS uses micro G by default, just to make sure that the phone works as a generic normie consumer would expect the phone to work. I personally do not run it. I think that it's by nature what it does. It's going to inherently add a little bit of insecurity, more in privacy to your life rather than anything else. That's what I think personally. I'd rather you use micro G than G apps if you absolutely have to have those functionalities. However, but I frankly I've never noticed a difference or not. Even in light of. For example, in van life stuff, apparently.
If I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to add onto that, if you are using an AOSP, like an Android open source project phone, whether it's Lineage or whatever, if all of your apps are installed from F-Droid, none of them use Google Play services, so you don't need micro G in those situations.
Correct. Yep. There's a few. Let me grab. I wish my EOS phone is apparently the battery has died because I don't use it all the time, but I do have on my other phone. So I've used this one here. There's a few apps that I've used for finding free campsites around. There was another one, I think it was All Trails or something, that required the G apps, and so it works on EOS because of micro G, but the two that work best without micro G in the camping world are the dirt, does not require G apps. And curiously, recreation.gov does not use G apps either. That one actually boggled my mind, but that actually does function without anything else. And of course, that is the app that the government wants you to use so you can check into your campsites and pay with the online secure platform. I just got it as a backup.
Not secure at all.
Yeah, probably not. Do you think people should avoid Firebase cloud messaging? What is the Firebase cloud messaging?
I was going to ask, what is that? I don't know what it is.
I have no idea. Anybody know what that is?
Not really. I guess it's something to do with cloud.
I mean, something to do with messaging. How about that?
Yeah.
I bet it's something to do with cloud and messaging. I have no idea what Firebase cloud messaging is.
I just did a Google search. It's the old name for Google Cloud and messaging.
Really? Okay. Well, is it like with Firebase Analytics or something? Because apparently it kind of has the same name.
I have no idea. But apparently it used to be the previous name was the Google Cloud Messaging. So maybe they renamed it so it didn't look as suspicious as...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. So how should a person receive notification? Like notifications or messages? Hell 9000. For messages, I'm still a Signal holdout. The one thing that Signal needs to effectively immediately stop doing and make it very public, when you download, like if I were to take my phone and download Signal and just download Signal, everybody who has my number in their phone gets a message from Signal that I am now on Signal.
Wow.
What in the hell?
Right,
That is like the stalker's dream. So that is the one thing that Signal does that is an absolute no-negotiable for me. So I would love Signal otherwise. If you're already using it, keep using it. But I will not put Signal on my device until they fix that. What I use personally, I use Silence, which uses the same encrypted backend. If somebody else is using Signal or Silence or any other form of encrypted message system that uses the same Signal protocol, it does do the same thing like iMessage, where it will be encrypted if both sender and receiver are using encrypted things, but it's a normal SMS if they're not. So basically it does the same thing. That's the one I'm using. It's available on F-Droid.
Yeah.
Wait, so just to make sure I understand, because I didn't know about this. So if I have Silence and then somebody else I know has Signal, I could still text them from Silence to Signal and it would be encrypted.
I believe that is the case. It would be worth looking into further, but my understanding of reading everything is that is the way it works.
I know somebody I can test with.
Sweet. Let me know for sure.
But
that's what I'm using I'm using Silence. The Castaway beard looks good. That's right. And I had a conversation with Mr. Spaldy before we started.
Actually, I was going to say, I actually have Signal on my Lineage OS phone right now that I have not... I haven't really done anything with. Maybe after the stream, I'll get your info, Tom, and we can give it a test.
Awesome. Let's see. What GPS app would you use if you don't want to buy something like Garmin these days is crap? GPS. Okay, so for car GPS, like I was looking into this recently because I want to throw my Garmin out the window most of the time. It wasn't always that way. I loved my Garmin car GPS, and I always recommend you use a car GPS for driving. Stop using your phones for driving. You could find yourself in the backwoods in New Hampshire, lose signal, and get lost. I mean...
Yeah.
I love this state. It's actually really beautiful. But man, I'm just having a hard time finding signal. But the car GPSs, that's what they're designed for. They're not going to lose signal very easily. And to my knowledge, there's only like two. There's Garmin and TomTom. There might actually be a third one that I want to look into. Now, my Garmin worked perfectly, and then it wanted an update to update the maps, and it got a firmware update. And after the firmware update, I swear, half the time, the thing drives me 50 miles out of the way to hit an interstate. And then the other time, it literally drove me through a road. The other day, as I was getting here, it drove me through a road that had grass growing up the middle of it. Okay?
Oh no!
Like, GPS, what are you doing? So
I have a portable Garmin device, and I don't use any Garmin software or any of the Garmin maps. I use the maps from the OpenStreetMap. They have in there's a link to their Wikipedia, to their wiki page, where there is links to how to install their maps onto a Garmin device, because if you have a GPS that accepts GPX files, then you can install any map you want without having to pay anyone for an update or anything messing up the. So I would try to check that out. That it may be that the OpenStreetMap has a better map because it's and especially in the United States, it's really awesome. I've heard.
Well, actually, OpenStreetMap in the United States is a nightmare. Because the addressing, you cannot search for an address.
That's true.
So bad. It's terrible.
Roads are good if you know the GPS coordinates where you're going to. It's awesome.
Right.
But unfortunately, it's difficult to do that. There are a few apps that will allow you to convert an address to a GPS location, but guess what? They all use Google Play services, so you can't use them on Lineage.
Well, I mean, versus like in my car, Garmin is like pre-installed onto it, and I can either use Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, and I do use Apple CarPlay sometimes, right? But I mean, the whole point is that I won't use it all the time, right? Like if it's somewhere that I might not want anyone to know or something, like going to work, that's fine, because then again, you can get a whole bunch of other information. But if you're going somewhere else, then I wouldn't use it. So. Yeah.
Let's see.
I remember when I bought the car that I have 7 years ago. Along came the original documentations, and including a box set of I think it was 5 CD-ROMs, which was part of the navigation thing. And I never tested it, but as far as I understand, it was you enter an address somewhere, and it will tell you which of the CD-ROMs to insert, and it will some voice would tell you how to drive someone. So,
yeah.
So we've come a long way.
I remember when Garmin used to make a Garmin mobile PC, which you can literally connect like a GPS receiver inside your computer. It was for Windows only, but you had like a full map, just like a GPS, and you could use it and essentially just use it as a normal GPS on your laptop. So that was cool.
Yeah. I guess to go back to like the phone question on stuff, I do use OpenStreetMaps. Like I said, though, I just don't use OpenStreetMaps for navigation because it doesn't do addressing. So I use OSM and on the phone, which you can download the apps. That one's actually saved me a few times. It's all offline, which is good.
Yeah.
And so at one point in time, I was hiking through, I think it was in the Needles district of Canyonlands, and somebody built cairn piles where you're not supposed to. And I kind of got a little lost out in the middle of nowhere. And it's like, okay, I can jump down this canyon, which will certain death. So this is not the right way for the trail. But I had no idea how in the world to get back to where I was. So I just pull out the phone and click on the location services, which you always turn location services off, and then go into your location services additionally and block everything else from using it. So there's 2 layers to do this on Android now.
Oh, yeah.
And so I only allow the only devices allowed to use notification or location services, I think, are the map application. I might have one other one on there as well, which will allow me to pull it up, and then when I turn on location services, it'll pinpoint where I'm at, and it throws me on the map. And the downloaded maps from OSM and are so detailed map-wise, they will show you the obscure trails in the middle of national parks. So I literally was able to see exactly where to get back onto the actual official trail from OpenStreetMaps. The problem with OpenStreetMaps is simply addresses.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm using. So that's the other component too, getting back to the phones, is make sure you're turning off every service you do not regularly need. Location service should always remain off unless you're explicitly using it. Bluetooth should always remain off unless you're explicitly using it. Wi-Fi should remain off unless you're explicitly using it. NFC should remain off unless you're explicitly using it.
The biggest
Somebody.
The problem with the OpenStreetMap and addresses, because OpenStreetMap is a collaborative project. So if there is an address missing, then it's because there is the users of the street or in that town haven't checked and added the street names and the addresses to the map. So if for those who are watching this, if you live in an area where you know that OpenStreetMap has a poor addresses of your town, just open the street map page, and you can edit and you can add the names and the addresses and so on. So it's just someone has to do it, and they don't have anyone paid to do it. So,
yeah. Can I say something?
Yeah, good.
Yeah. So I guess the biggest frustration that I have, like with either Android or iPhone or iOS, right, is that they kind of trick you a little bit. Like when you install an app and they give you permissions and stuff, you really don't know if you actually need the permissions or not, and it makes it way more confusing, right? So, for example, on Apple with location services, you have to enable it, but then if you forget to go explicitly inside the settings and then turn location services for the specific apps, they might start tracking you immediately, right? Unless if you remember to turn it off, which is kind of a little bit sneaky if you think about it.
Just want to throw in something here. This goes into hand with both what World Unix and you were saying, Tom. It was regarding Android permissions, at least. I don't know if this is the case with stock Android, since I haven't used it and I don't know when. But on Lineage OS, there's actually an option in the permissions that you can toggle on and off that says revoke permissions if the app is not used like for an extended period of time. I forget the exact wording of it. I'll try to find it real quick.
Yeah, that's a new addition that was added like Android 10-ish, 10 or 11. It is on Lineage now, and I think that came from stock Android, where if you're not using the app for 3 months, it will immediately revoke permissions until you use it again.
Can you configure the time period?
I haven't seen anything that indicates.
Not that I know of. Hold on, I have.
Remove app permissions.
Somebody say something while I can focus on looking this up.
I'd say I've got it on my. I've got it on one of these Lineage phones right here in front of me. The toggle is called remove permissions if app isn't used, and then has an information button. To protect your data, the app is unused for a few months. The following permissions will be removed, which in this app's case is location, which is the only permissions it wants.
I wish it would be like maybe a week or a day, right? That would be even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have no issue with the default being 3 months, but give the user an option to configure how long that period should be.
Sure, that would have to be definitely something
that on? I looked in privacy and I didn't see it in there.
It's on a per app basis, so if you have to tap and hold an app, and then you tap the icon, and then there's under permissions as well.
But then again, you have to do that for every single app, which is a little bit tricky, right? And that's what I hate. Like when I reset my Android phone, because I can't root it, I usually disable all the Google apps as much as possible, and I put F-Droid, so at least I don't use Google Play services as much, and I try to disable it, right, when I'm not using it. But you have to do everything manually. Like, I wish there would be something that you could just do it automatically, but they don't really let you. So
yeah, it's unfortunately there's a bit of a barrier to entry on that.
I thought there was a way to turn that on by default, but I can't seem to find it right now. But yeah,
and I think that they do that on purpose, really. Like, of course, now Google is saying that they're all about privacy. They're basically just copying what Apple is saying about on-device processing and doing all that stuff.
Well, yeah, there's a reason for that. I actually watched the Google live Yeah, the not Google I/O, but the advertising and business stream that they do like a week after Google I/O.
Yeah.
They're saying by the end of 2023, 65% of the world's population is going to be covered under some kind of GDPR type of laws, privacy laws. So Google's being forced to play this game.
Yeah.
And so we'll ultimately see how much kicking and screaming they do along the way. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not upset about it. I'm really not.
Yep.
Oh, no, not at all. Like, the more control you have, the better it is, right? But you also have to learn a little bit how your phone works.
Yeah,
right?
so Ken says you have to reset permissions after every update for each app. That's why updates are cancer.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah, right.
Terrible.
I get the phone built usually, and I don't bother with updates until I need a new phone.
That's true. Like on Mac OS, or even I think I'm going to do that on Fedora. I'm on Fedora 35. Everything's working well. And even then that I might have to upgrade, I'm still going to stick by it until the cycle ends and I have to upgrade. So it's better to not upgrade immediately. And honestly, there's not many new features that you're going to get.
You know, it's got me really curious. I actually have one of these Androids that I have that's actually IMEI blocked, so I can't use it as a cell phone anyway.
Yeah.
I might just restore the stock firmware on here, the stock OS, and see if that's true. Like, wait for an update. If they update this phone anymore, it's 5 years old.
Yeah.
And see if I have to reset the app permissions. That's actually something that would be interesting to look into.
Yeah, that's true.
What you could do as well is you could do it with Lineage. Grab an older version of Lineage for the same phone, install it, set everything up, and then let Lineage run the apps.
I was like, I've actually got several weekly build updates that are pending on this M20. Actually, I might just go ahead and run one now. And
there you go. See what it does.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's a good thing, but I'm sure there's lots more progress that we could do, like either with using Linux, Windows, Mac OS, and phones about app permissions, and essentially knowing more of what your computer is really doing right behind the back. That's the biggest question that most people don't know about. So I use tools like the Lil Snitch on Mac OS and OpenSnitch on Linux. And it's like a firewall / network monitor, right? That every time that an application tries to connect to the internet, it basically shows you like a dialogue, and you're able to click allow or deny for every request or not. And it gives you an idea on which apps connect more to the internet than others, which really helps into figuring out if it's like a little bit suspicious or not. So, like monitoring just my network traffic on each computer. That's what I do to determine if everything's fine or not.
Yeah, there you go. We are coming up on the end of the hour, so we're going to go through our final conclusions here. So if anybody, Ivan, let's start with you. Final thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, with the geolocation stuff like that with phones and such, it's like if you're ever given the option to not use the location data, then definitely don't use it unless, of course, you're in a situation where you absolutely need to use it. And if you have to drill it down to individual apps, then so be it. It's like if you're willing to put any necessary time in to make this happen, then go with it, fly with it, get it done. And but if it's like one of these, I just can't be bothered, and I just need it to work all the time, well then so be it. Then that's your choice, and you're willing to accept any possible repercussions.
Absolutely. Salbu, final words.
Yeah, so I'm not using any app of any kind on my phone. You
don't even have the capabilities, right?
Yeah, so my phone don't. So I am. You can think of me as the Norwegian type of Agent Gibbs in the NCIS series. He uses a flip phone, and whenever one of his associates tell him about a new phone that is around, that it's much easier, he always answers, why would I need one? I can send text messages and I can call with this. So if you really want, if you don't care about using any apps and then having an old-fashioned dumb phone, and it doesn't have to be an old phone. They still make these phones today. And then you can't be snooped upon using an internet connection, at least.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. World of Unix.
Okay. So I guess that if there's any applications that you should install, it's any one that's made by a company that's like a restaurant or movie theater, or even the games, mobile games and stuff. That's really one. Well, many of the apps that you have to avoid. So stick to the essentials. That's what it is. It doesn't completely protect your privacy, but it's definitely gonna make a big difference, though. So yeah,
definitely avoid any frou-frou apps, anything like that. And Tech, final thoughts, if you're still there. Yep, you are.
Yeah, I'm still here. I mean, I can't really. Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to it. Use only what you absolutely have to use for good reasons. Which brings up a question I have. Does anybody know of any, like, and I don't even know if this is even possible with FOSS software, but does anybody have any good, like, family tracking, like FOSS apps, like like how iPhones have like the Find My Family app, where you can, like, because I have some elderly, like, folks in my family that
Nextcloud actually has a functionality to do that.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, that's true.
I've never played with it, but it is there. It's been in there for a long time, so if it's still there, presumably it should work well.
Yeah, it's an add-on or like an app you install on it and you set it up, right?
Yeah.
So,
So you'd set the
for sure.
Yeah, you'd set up the phone with the app, and then I think that they would need an account on the Nextcloud, which doesn't really matter. You can create the account, and you can create the account for them, or I think maybe just add it to yours. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't used it. I just know it's there.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice.
Yep. All right. So we are going to be streaming in 1 hour on the Christian channel. We're talking about finding a trusted ministry, based on some questions and conversations I've had recently, and so we'll be talking about that and seeing what the Bible has to say. So you can jump on over there if you'd like to join us over there. This video, of course, on YouTube. We are also on Rumble, on Library, and on Rumble, Library, and BitChute. We are actually just about to cross 1,000 subscribers over on Rumble, so I should start promoting that channel more.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think it's like 950 on the Switch to Linux, and my Christian channel has, I don't know, some odd 50-ish or so over there. So, but anyway. Yeah, you can find us on alternative platforms as well. So, with that, guys,
on the BitChute channel, you have 3,800 subscribers.
Yeah, there should be, like, BitChute. I think is certainly my second biggest channel for sure.
Yeah.
Let me see what my back end's telling me over there on BitChute right now.
The thing that I like about BitChute is that you can set up RSS feeds in order to follow the channels without actually having an account.
Yeah, and I actually use an app plugged into the K-Word media application. Apparently, you can't say on YouTube because it'll get you instantly demonetized. But yeah, that's how I use BitChute videos, which works pretty well. So anyway, well, we'll wrap this one up here. Tomorrow, weekly news roundup. We will see you guys then. 1 hour we'll be on the Christian channel talking about finding a trusted ministry. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you next time.